First contact with the Dominion. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the EDS Hyperion, Earth's most advanced deep space research vessel, watching the strange alien ship drift silently through the void. Its crystalline structure pulsed with a fading blue light, like a dying heartbeat in the darkness of space. 3 hours ago, it had appeared at the edge of Saturn's rings, its emergence accompanied by a burst of radiation that had initially sent the Hyperion's sensors into chaos. Status update, Chen asked, her eyes never leaving the alien vessel. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, the ship's lead xenobiologist, consulted his tablet. Life signs are stable but weak. Their propulsion system seems to be completely dead, and their hull shows signs of massive energy weapon damage. Whatever hit them, Captain, it wasn't friendly. Chen nodded slowly. When humanity had finally ventured beyond Mars, they'd found no signs of intelligent life. No ruins, no signals, nothing. Earth's scientists had theorized that perhaps we were alone in our corner of the galaxy, or that some cosmic filter had wiped out any civilization before they could reach the stars. Now their first contact was with a ship that looked like it had barely survived a war. Dr. Rodriguez, what's your assessment of the risk if we bring them aboard? The xenobiologist straightened his glasses. Their biology seems silicon-based, but compatible with our atmosphere. They're humanoid in structure, though their internal anatomy is quite different. I don't detect any signs of biological weapons or contaminants. If we're going to help them, we need to act fast. Chen tapped her neural interface, connecting to the ship's eye. Helena, begin docking procedures. Alert Medical Bay to prepare for unknown alien physiology. And get me a direct line to Earth Command. The AI's response was immediate. Docking procedures initiated. Medical Bay is preparing. Be advised, Captain, that Earth Command transmission will have a 12-minute delay at current distance. As the Hyperion's docking arms extended toward the alien vessel, Chen couldn't shake the feeling that this moment would change human history forever. She trained for first contact scenarios, but nothing could have prepared her for the reality of it. The docking procedure took 20 minutes, during which Chen assembled her first contact team. Dr. Rodriguez for biological analysis, Lieutenant Commander James Wu for security, and Dr. Sarah O'Neill, their leading linguist and anthropologist. As they stood in the airlock chamber, Chen addressed her team. Remember your training. We're here to help, but stay alert. This could be first contact, or it could be first conflict. Let's hope for the former. The airlock cycled, and they entered the alien vessel. The interior was a maze of crystalline corridors that seemed to have grown rather than been built. Emergency lighting cast everything in a pale blue glow, and the air was thin but breathable. They found the crew in what appeared to be the ship's control center. 5 humanoid figures, their skin a pale lavender color with iridescent patches, lay unconscious at their stations. Their bodies were slender, almost fragile-looking, with elongated limbs and large almond-shaped heads. Dr. Rodriguez immediately began scanning them with his medical equipment. They're alive, but in a state of biological stasis. Their vital signs are similar to what we'd see in deep hibernation. Can you wake them? Chen asked. Yes, but carefully. Their biology seems to have some sort of natural defense mechanism against rapid recovery from stasis. It took another hour to safely revive the alien crew. When the first one opened its eyes, revealing pupils that shifted color like oil on water, Chen held her breath. This was humanity's first real conversation with an alien species. The alien spoke, its voice producing sounds that seemed to resonate on multiple frequencies simultaneously. Dr. O'Neill's universal translator worked furiously to decode the language, and after a few moments, broken English emerged from her device. We, grateful. Help came. Not expected. Humans would respond. Chen stepped forward, keeping her hands visible and her posture non-threatening. I'm Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Deep Space Vessel Hyperion. We received no distress call, but we found your ship damaged. Can you tell us what happened? The alien's color shifted slightly, patches of its skin darkening. I am first speaker Xerix of the Arcadian Collective. We were running. The Dominion. They found our colony. Destroyed everything. We barely escaped. The translator struggled with some concepts, but the message was clear enough. These people were refugees. The Dominion? Chen asked. We've never heard of them. Xerix's skin rippled with what might have been fear. The Dominion consumes. They find worlds, civilizations. They take what they want, destroy what remains. Your people, how have you survived? How have they not found you? Chen exchanged glances with her team. We're relatively new to deep space travel. We've only recently begun exploring beyond our solar system. The alien's color shifted again, this time to something brighter. New. But your ship, your technology. We detected quantum signatures. Advanced AI matrices. How can you be new? Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward. We developed differently than most species, it seems. We focused on certain technologies before others. We've had quantum computing for decades, but we're still perfecting faster than light travel. Xerix struggled to sit up, its movements careful and deliberate. Perhaps this is why you survived. The Dominion looks for traditional signs of advancement, faster than light signatures, antimatter reactions. They do not expect different paths. Chen felt a chill run down her spine. How many worlds have they taken? Hundreds. They grow stronger with each conquest. The Arcadian Collective was once 30 worlds strong. Now we are refugees, searching for somewhere to hide. The implications were staggering. Humanity had developed in isolation, unknown to a galaxy at war. Their unique technological path had inadvertently hidden them from a genocidal empire. First speaker Xerix, Chen said, making a decision that would alter the course of human history. Earth has never turned away those in need of shelter. We can offer your people sanctuary, but we'll need to know everything you can tell us about the Dominion. If they're out there, consuming worlds, sooner or later they'll find us. We need to be ready. Xerix's skin rippled with complex patterns of color. You would stand against the Dominion, even knowing what they are capable of. Chen smiled, an expression that humans knew could mean both friendship and mourning. First speaker, humanity has never backed down from a fight when innocent lives were at stake, and we've never lost a war on our home ground. Tell me about the Dominion, and we'll show you why Earth's isolation wasn't just luck, it was preparation. As the alien refugees were carefully transported to the Hyperion's medical bay, Chen composed her message to Earth Command. Humanity had hoped their first contact would be peaceful, but instead they'd found a galaxy in crisis. Yet as she watched her crew efficiently care for their unexpected guests, she felt a surge of pride. Humanity had spent its isolation becoming stronger, developing technologies in unique ways, preparing for threats they hadn't known existed. The Dominion thought they were invincible because they'd never faced a species that developed like humanity had. They'd never encountered a civilization that had turned their own planet's harsh challenges into stepping stones for advancement. They'd never faced a species that had nearly destroyed itself multiple times, learning and growing stronger from each near-extinction event. Soon, they would learn why Earth's isolation had been a blessing in disguise. The Dominion thought they were the apex predators of the galaxy. They were about to discover they weren't the only species that had evolved to dominate their environment. Humanity was going to war. The war machine awakens. General Michael Santos stood in the heart of Cheyenne Mountain's Quantum Computing Center, watching as holographic displays showed humanity's military-industrial complex roaring to life. 6 months had passed since the Hyperion's first contact with the Arcadian refugees, and Earth had spent every second preparing for war. "Show me the Jupiter shipyards," he commanded, and the AI obliged. The massive construction facilities orbiting Jupiter's moon Europa filled the display. Dozens of warships were under construction, their dark hulls gleaming under the work lights. They looked nothing like traditional space vessels. These ships were predators, built with every lesson humanity had learned from Earth's apex hunters. Production report, Santos requested. Colonel Diana Martinez, his chief of operations, stepped forward. The first fleet will be ready in 2 weeks, sir. The quantum armor integration is proceeding faster than expected, and the AI neural networks are learning at an exponential rate. Santos nodded, studying the nearest ship in detail. The Arcadians had been shocked when they learned that humans had developed quantum technology without first mastering faster-than-light travel. But Earth had learned long ago that the best defense was a good offense, and they'd focused on technologies that would give them an edge in combat. "How are our guests adapting to the neural interface trials?" he asked. Martins brought up another display, showing the training facilities where Arcadian refugees worked alongside human pilots. "Better than expected, sir. Their silicon-based biology actually interfaces more smoothly with our quantum systems than human wetware. They're providing invaluable insights into Dominion tactics and capabilities." The neural interfaces were another uniquely human development, born from the necessity of managing Earth's increasingly complex defense systems. They allowed direct mind-to-machine communication. The Dominion relied on AI for ship control. Humanity had instead developed technology that turned their ships into extensions of human consciousness. And the stealth systems. Better than we hoped. Martins brought up test results from the Kuiper Belt trials. The quantum displacement field completely masks our energy signatures. As far as Dominion sensors are concerned, our ships might as well be rocks floating in space. Santos allowed himself a small smile. The Dominion had never encountered a species that developed stealth technology before faster-than-light travel. They looked for warp signatures, antimatter reactions, the traditional signs of an advanced civilization. They weren't prepared for ships that could hide in plain sight, using quantum fields to bend light and energy around them. A young lieutenant rushed into the command center, his neural interface glowing with urgent data. "General, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Hyperion. Captain Chen reports they've detected Dominion scout ships at the edge of the Oort cloud." Santos straightened. "Show me." The holographic display shifted, showing 3 Dominion vessels moving through the outer edges of the solar system. They were massive, their hulls covered in weapon emplacements, but they moved with an arrogance that spoke of never having faced a serious threat. "They're scanning for FTL signatures," Martinez observed. "Standard search pattern. They haven't detected our quantum tech yet." Santos watched the enemy ships for a moment longer. "How many of the new stealth destroyers are combat-ready?" 3, sir. The Nemesis, the Shadow, and the Night Stalker. Launch them. Let's show the Dominion why humanity's predatory evolution wasn't just about physical strength." The order went out, and in the shipyards around Europa, 3 ships detached from their construction cradles. They were beautiful in a lethal way, their hulls incorporating designs learned from Earth's most efficient hunters. Like the shark, they were nearly invisible from below. Like the owl, their surfaces absorbed rather than reflected energy. Like the spider, they could spin webs of quantum fields to trap their prey. First Speaker Zurich, who had become humanity's primary advisor on Dominion tactics, joined them in the command center. The Arcadian's skin rippled with concern as they watched the Dominion scouts. "Your ships are very small compared to theirs," Zurich observed. "The Dominion will not expect them to be a threat." Santos smiled. "Size isn't everything, First Speaker. Humanity learned long ago that the most dangerous predators aren't always the largest." The 3 human destroyers moved through space like ghosts, their quantum displacement fields making them virtually invisible to conventional sensors. They approached the Dominion scouts from different angles, using Jupiter's magnetic field to mask their approach. "The Dominion ships still haven't detected them," Martins reported. "They're completely focused on scanning for FTL signatures." Santos opened a channel to all 3 destroyers. "Remember your training. Like the pack hunters of Earth, coordinate your attacks. Strike hard, strike fast, and show no mercy. These bastards need to learn that they're not the only predators in space." The attack, when it came, was devastating in its precision. The Nemesis struck first, its quantum beams cutting through the lead Dominion ship's shields as if they didn't exist. The enemy vessel's defensive systems, calibrated to stop traditional energy weapons, might as well have been trying to stop a ghost. Before the other Dominion ships could react, the Shadow and Night Stalker pounced from different vectors. Their quantum torpedoes, developed from theoretical weapons research that had never been tested in actual combat, created localized areas of altered spacetime. The Dominion ships' hulls crumpled as space itself twisted around them. By the first light, Zerix whispered, their skin paling to an almost white shade. We fought the Dominion for decades. I have never seen their ships destroyed so easily." Santos watched as the human destroyers finished their work. The entire engagement had lasted less than 5 minutes. Where 3 powerful Dominion warships had been, now there was only debris, slowly freezing in the cold of space. "This was just the beginning," Santos said. "The Dominion thinks they're invincible because they've never faced a species that evolved like we did. They've never encountered a civilization that turned their own planet's harshness into an advantage. They've never fought an enemy that spent its isolation preparing for exactly this kind of war." Martinez's neural interface pulsed as she received updates from the destroyers. All 3 ships report minimal energy expenditure. The quantum weapons performed above specifications. And, sir, they recovered intact Dominion data cores. Santos turned to Zerix. "First Speaker, your people have suffered enough. You sought refuge among the stars, but found only more danger. Now it's time for humanity to show the Dominion why Earth's isolation wasn't a weakness. It was an incubation period." The Arcadian's skin rippled with complex patterns of hope and awe. "You speak of taking the fight to them. No species has ever successfully invaded Dominion space. No species has ever had our advantages," Santos replied. "We developed in isolation, focused on technologies they never imagined. While they were conquering other worlds, we were preparing for threats we didn't even know existed. Now they'll learn why Earth's creatures became the apex predators of their environment." He turned back to the holographic display, where the 3 human destroyers were recovering debris for analysis. "The Dominion thinks they're the hunters. They're about to discover what it means to be the prey. Humanity isn't just joining this war. We're going to end it." As orders went out across the solar system, Santos watched humanity's war machine accelerate into full production. The shipyards around Europa blazed with activity, constructing vessels that would redefine space warfare. In labs and factories across Earth, new weapons were being developed, incorporating everything humanity had learned from millions of years of evolutionary combat. The Dominion had never faced an enemy like humanity, a species that had spent its entire existence preparing for war, even when they didn't know who the enemy would be. They were about to learn why isolation had made humanity not weaker, but infinitely more dangerous. The war machine was awake, and its hunters were ready for blood. Operation Thunderstrike. Admiral Sarah Chen, now commanding the EDS Hyperion as the flagship of humanity's first deep space battle fleet, stood at her command station as 50 Earth warships dropped out of quantum space near the Dominion fortress world of Nexus Prime. The planet's orbital defenses were impressive. Hundreds of defense platforms, energy shields that could withstand conventional fleet bombardment, and at least 200 Dominion warships. "Status report," she commanded, her neural interface pulsing with real-time tactical data. "Quantum displacement fields holding steady," Lieutenant Commander Wu reported. "Dominion sensors haven't detected us yet. They're still focused on their standard FTL detection grid." Chen allowed herself a grim smile. The Dominion's arrogance was their weakness. They couldn't imagine a species developing space combat capabilities without following their expected technological progression. Earth's quantum technology, developed in isolation, was about to change everything they thought they knew about warfare. First Speaker Zerix, now serving as the fleet's chief tactical advisor, stood beside Chen. Their skin rippled with nervous energy as they watched the Dominion fleet's standard patrol patterns. I still cannot believe we are attacking Nexus Prime, Xerix said quietly. The Arcadian Collective lost 3 fleets trying to defend against a Dominion attack here. Now we bring the war to them. The best defense is a good offense, Chen replied. Humanity learned that lesson long ago. We're not here to defend. We're here to hunt. She opened a fleet-wide channel. All ships, this is Admiral Chen. Operation Thunderstrike begins in 5 minutes. Remember your training. Like Earth's pack hunters, we strike together. We strike hard. And we show no mercy. These bastards have terrorized the galaxy long enough. Today, they learn they're not the only predators in space. The human fleet moved into attack formation, still cloaked by their quantum displacement fields. The formation itself was unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Inspired by wolf pack hunting strategies, with groups of ships positioned to herd and trap their prey. Launch the quantum probes, Chen ordered. Hundreds of small, stealthy devices detached from the human ships, spreading out through the Dominion defense grid. Each probe carried a revolutionary weapon, a quantum field generator that could temporarily alter the laws of physics within a localized area. Probes in position, Wu reported. Ready to initiate Phase 1. Chen took a deep breath. This was the moment that would change the galaxy forever. Execute Operation Thunderstrike. The quantum probes activated simultaneously. Within their fields of effect, the speed of light itself changed. The Dominion's energy shields, calibrated for normal spacetime, suddenly found themselves trying to maintain coherence in areas where physics itself had gone mad. The results were catastrophic for the defenders. Shield generators overloaded and exploded. Defense platforms, suddenly operating under different physical laws than their targeting systems were designed for, began firing at random coordinates. Dominion ships found their energy weapons shooting backwards or phasing through their targets without effect. Phase 1 successful, Wu announced. Dominion defenses are in chaos. Their command and control networks are trying to compensate, but they can't handle the variable physics zones. Launch Phase 2, Chen ordered. The human fleet decloaked, but not in the way the Dominion expected. Instead of simply becoming visible, each ship seemed to multiply quantum displacement fields, creating dozens of perfect copies. To Dominion sensors, it appeared as if thousands of warships had suddenly materialized throughout their defense grid. Multiple Dominion ships attempting emergency FTL jumps, Wu reported with satisfaction. Their drive signatures are interacting with our quantum fields. They're tearing themselves apart. Chen watched as the Dominion fleet tried to respond to an attack unlike anything they'd ever encountered. Their ships, designed for traditional space combat, found themselves fighting an enemy that could change the rules of physics itself. Commence attack pattern Delta, she commanded. Show them why Earth's predators evolved to be the most efficient killers in their environment. The human fleet moved with terrible precision. Like a pack of wolves separating weak members from the herd, they isolated and destroyed Dominion ships one group at a time. Quantum weapons bypassed shields designed for conventional energy attacks. Hull-mounted gravity manipulators crushed enemy vessels like aluminum cans. Temporal distortion beams caused Dominion ships to experience hours of damage in seconds of real time. Admiral, Wu called out, we're detecting massive energy buildups in the planetary defense grid. They're diverting power from their cities to the orbital platforms. As expected, Chen replied. Initiate Phase 3. From the belly of each human warship, swarms of smaller craft emerged. They weren't fighters in the traditional sense. They were autonomous hunter-killers, their designs based on Earth's most successful parasitic organisms. As the Dominion diverted power to their defenses, these tiny ships attached themselves to power conduits and defense platforms, injecting quantum-corrupted code directly into the enemy systems. Xerix's skin had turned almost white with amazement. This is impossible. The Dominion's cyber defenses are impenetrable. No species has ever successfully hacked their systems. That's because they expected traditional cyber warfare, Chen explained. We took a different approach. Those aren't hackers. They're more like viruses, changing the fundamental way their quantum computers process information. On the tactical display, Dominion defense platforms began turning on each other. Shield generators protected enemy ships from their own weapons. Targeting systems identified friendly vessels as hostile threats. Dominion fleet is in full retreat, Wu reported. Their remaining ships are attempting to reach the system's edge. Should we pursue? Chen studied the tactical situation. The battle for Nexus Prime had lasted less than 30 minutes. One of the Dominion's most heavily fortified worlds had fallen to an attack they still didn't understand. Negative, she decided. Let them run. Let them tell their leaders what happened here. Let them spread the fear. She turned to Zurich, whose skin was displaying patterns of awe and disbelief. This is just the beginning, first speaker. For centuries, the Dominion has terrorized the galaxy because no one could fight back effectively. They never imagined facing a species that developed in isolation, that focused on technologies they never considered possible. You have done more than defeat them, Zurich said quietly. You have shattered their myth of invincibility. The other subjugated species will hear of this. They will begin to hope again. Chen nodded, watching as human ships began securing orbital positions around Nexus Prime. The planet's population, mostly consisting of species conquered by the Dominion, were already sending messages of surrender and pleas for liberation. Tell me, first speaker, she said, in all the Dominion's history of conquest, have they ever faced an enemy that turned defeat into an advantage? Have they ever encountered a species that treated every setback as an opportunity to grow stronger? No, Zurich admitted. They simply overwhelm and destroy. They have never needed to adapt. Then they're about to learn a harsh lesson about evolution, Chen said. Every creature on Earth, from the smallest bacteria to the largest predator, survived because they adapted to challenges. Humanity didn't just survive our isolation. We used it to become something the Dominion couldn't imagine. She opened a channel to the fleet. All ships, begin Phase 4. Secure the orbital facilities and prepare for ground operations. The Dominion is about to learn why Earth's apex predators didn't just dominate their environment. They changed it to suit their needs. As her orders were carried out, Chen reflected on the irony of the situation. The Dominion had conquered hundreds of worlds, thinking themselves the greatest power in the galaxy. They had never considered that somewhere, in isolation, a species might be evolving into something far more dangerous, a predator designed by millions of years of competition to be the perfect killer. Operation Thunderstrike wasn't just a victory. It was a declaration to the galaxy. Humanity had emerged from its isolation, and the hunters were about to become the hunted. The hunter becomes the hunted. General Santos stood in the war room of the EDS Predator, watching as tactical displays showed human fleets advancing through Dominion space. 3 months had passed since Operation Thunderstrike, and humanity's offensive had exceeded even their most optimistic projections. Show me the Dominion response patterns, he commanded. The AI compiled data from dozens of battles, creating a strategic overview. Dominion fleets were abandoning their traditional patrol routes, consolidating around their core worlds. Their once mighty empire was contracting like a wounded animal trying to protect its vital organs. Colonel Martinez approached, her neural interface pulsing with fresh intelligence. Sir, the Arcadian analysis team has finished decoding the latest Dominion transmissions. They're terrified. Santos raised an eyebrow. Show me. The holographic display shifted, showing translated excerpts from Dominion military communications. The arrogance that had characterized their earlier messages was gone, replaced by something approaching panic. Cannot engage the human vessels conventionally. Their quantum technology defies our understanding. Third Fleet lost in the Centauri sector. They appear from nowhere, strike without warning. Weapons bypass all known defenses. Recommend immediate withdrawal from contested spaces. They're learning, Santos observed, but not fast enough. How are the new hunter-killer drones performing? Martins brought up combat footage from the latest engagements. The drones, inspired by Earth's most efficient pack hunters, operated in synchronized groups. They were small, nearly impossible to detect, and devastatingly effective. Exceptional results, sir. The Dominion still hasn't figured out how to counter them. Their ships are designed to fight capital vessels, not swarms of autonomous predators. First Speaker Zerix entered the war room, their skin showing patterns of excitement. The Arcadian had become humanity's chief advisor on Dominion psychology, helping them understand how to break not just their enemy's military strength, but their will to fight. "General," Zerix announced, "we're receiving reports from across Dominion space. Subjugated species are rising up, sabotaging their infrastructure. The myth of Dominion invincibility is crumbling." Santos nodded with satisfaction. This had been part of the strategy from the beginning, not just to defeat the Dominion militarily, but to dismantle the fear that had kept their empire intact for centuries. "Show me the latest liberation statistics," he ordered. The display updated, showing dozens of former Dominion worlds now free of their control. But more importantly, it showed the spreading pattern of rebellion and resistance. Like a virus in a vulnerable host, the idea of resistance was spreading faster than the Dominion could contain it. "Sir," Martinez interrupted, "priority alert from the Nemesis battle group. They've located the Dominion's primary shipyard in the Orion Spur." Santos straightened. This was an opportunity they'd been waiting for. "Show me." The tactical display shifted to show a massive construction facility hidden within an asteroid field. Dozens of Dominion capital ships were under construction, their incomplete hulls surrounded by defense platforms and patrol vessels. "They're rushing to replace their losses," Martinez observed. "Quality is suffering. These ships aren't up to their usual standards." "Fear makes you sloppy," Santos replied. "They're so focused on quantity now that they're forgetting what made them powerful in the first place." He studied the facility's defenses for a moment. "Deploy the Phantom Fleet." The Phantom Fleet was humanity's latest innovation in space warfare. Instead of traditional warships, it consisted of vessels that could alter their quantum signature to appear as space debris, asteroids, or even background radiation. They were the ultimate expression of humanity's approach to hunting: patient, invisible, and lethal. "Phantom Fleet deploying," Martinez confirmed. "They'll be in position within 6 hours." Santos turned to Zerix. "First Speaker, in all your experience with the Dominion, did they ever show fear? Did they ever act like prey?" The Arcadian's skin rippled with thoughtful patterns. "Never. They were always the predator, always confident in their superiority. This behavior is unprecedented. That's because they've never been hunted before," Santos explained. "On Earth, even the most powerful predators can become prey when faced with a more efficient hunter. The Dominion is learning what every species on our world had to learn. Adaptation isn't optional, it's survival." The next 6 hours were spent preparing for the assault. The Phantom Fleet moved into position with impossible stealth, their quantum signatures indistinguishable from the surrounding asteroid field. The Dominion shipyard continued its frantic production, unaware that they were surrounded. "All Phantom units in position," Martinez reported. "Ready to initiate Protocol Apex." Santos opened a channel to the fleet. "All ships, execute Protocol Apex. Show them why Earth's predators evolved to hunt in 3 dimensions." The attack was unlike anything the Dominion had ever faced. Asteroids that their sensors had tracked for hours suddenly transformed into warships. Radiation patterns they'd dismissed as background noise materialized into hunter-killer swarms. Even the vacuum of space seemed to come alive with human vessels emerging from quantum displacement fields. "Multiple Dominion ships attempting emergency launches," Martinez reported. "Their partially completed vessels are trying to escape dock." "Negative," Santos commanded. "No survivors. The Dominion needs to learn that there are consequences for their centuries of terror." The battle, if it could be called that, was over in minutes. The Phantom Fleet's quantum weapons bypassed the shipyard's defenses as if they didn't exist. Dominion ships, caught in their construction cradles, were methodically destroyed. The facility's command center, realizing too late what was happening, managed only a brief distress call before it was erased from existence. Facility destroyed. Martins confirmed. No Dominion ships escaped. Collecting data cores and technical documentation now. Santos studied the aftermath displayed on the tactical screens. Where there had been a massive shipyard desperately building weapons of war, now there was only debris slowly freezing in the void of space. Send word to all human fleets, he ordered. The hunt continues. Find their supply lines, their production facilities, their command centers. Show them nowhere is safe, no defense is sufficient, no retreat is far enough. He turned to Zerix, whose skin was displaying patterns of awe and vindication. Your people suffered under their oppression for generations. First speaker. Now they learn why isolation made humanity not weaker, but infinitely more dangerous. We didn't just evolve to survive. We evolved to hunt. As reports came in from across Dominion space of more facilities found and destroyed, more fleets ambushed and eliminated, more worlds liberated, Santos reflected on the irony of the situation. The Dominion had spent centuries as the galaxy's apex predator, never imagining that somewhere, in isolation, a species had been evolving into something far more lethal. The hunters had become the hunted, and humanity was teaching them why Earth's predators didn't just kill to survive, they kill to dominate. Victory through innovation. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the EDS Hyperion, now upgraded with technologies reverse-engineered from captured Dominion vessels. The massive holographic display showed their final target, the Dominion throne world of Imperius Prime. After 8 months of relentless warfare, humanity had pushed the once mighty empire back to its last stronghold. Tactical analysis. She commanded. Her neural interface processing data streams from thousands of sensors and scout vessels. They've consolidated everything they have left, Lieutenant Commander Wu reported. Over 500 capital ships, 3 layers of planetary shields, and some kind of new weapon system we haven't encountered before. First speaker Zerix, their skin showing complex patterns of anticipation and concern, studied the defensive formations. They're desperate. In all of recorded history, no enemy has ever reached Imperius Prime. The Dominion leadership is facing something they've never experienced, the real possibility of defeat. Chen allowed herself a grim smile. Then let's show them how humanity handles victory. Deploy the quantum web. The quantum web was humanity's latest innovation in space warfare, developed by combining their understanding of quantum physics with lessons learned from Earth's most successful predators. Like a spider's web, it was nearly invisible. Like a neural network, it could process and react to information instantly. And like a living organism, it could adapt and evolve to counter any threat. Quantum web deploying. Wu confirmed. Phase 1 initiating. Thousands of microscopic quantum nodes spread out through space, creating an invisible network around the Dominion's defenses. Each node could alter local spacetime, creating areas where the laws of physics themselves became weapons. The Dominion fleet is moving to intercept, Wu reported. They're launching some kind of new fighter craft. Energy signatures are unusual. Show me, Chen ordered. The tactical display zoomed in on the approaching fighters. They were unlike anything they'd seen before, crystalline structures that seemed to phase in and out of normal spacetime. They've been studying our quantum technology, Zerix observed, their skin paling. These fighters are their attempt to replicate our capabilities. Chen nodded. Impressive adaptation. But copying a technology isn't the same as understanding its full potential. Initiate Phase 2. The quantum web came alive with energy. But instead of attacking the Dominion fighters directly, it began creating overlapping fields of altered spacetime. The effect was like a maze where the walls were made of physics itself. Each path the fighters could take led them into areas where their copied quantum technology worked against them. Enemy fighters are. They're tearing themselves apart. Wu reported with satisfaction. Their quantum fields are interacting with ours in ways their pilots can't compensate for. "Launch the hunter swarms," Chen commanded. From the holds of the human fleet, tens of thousands of autonomous drones emerge. Unlike traditional combat drones, these were based on Earth's most successful colonial insects. They worked in perfect coordination, adapting their tactics in real time, learning from each engagement. Hunter swarms engaging Dominion capital ships, Wu announced. Their point defense systems are overwhelmed. The battle unfolded like a carefully choreographed dance of destruction. The hunter swarms herded Dominion ships into the quantum web's kill zones. Ships that tried to escape found themselves in regions where time moved differently, their crews experiencing hours of combat in seconds of real time. "Sir," Wu called out, "we're detecting massive energy buildups from the surface. They're activating their new weapon system." The space above Imperius Prime seemed to ripple as enormous energy beams lanced out from planetary defense platforms. Where they struck, space itself appeared to shatter like glass. "Space-time fracture weapons," Zerix whispered, their skin showing patterns of horror. "They're trying to tear apart the fabric of reality itself." Chen's expression remained calm. "Exactly as we expected. Initiate final protocol." The human fleet's formation shifted, creating a complex geometric pattern. Each ship's quantum drives synchronized, establishing a resonance field that spread throughout the battle space. "What are you doing?" Zerix asked, watching as the Dominion's fracture beams seemed to lose coherence. "Fighting fire with fire," Chen explained. "They tried to weaponize space-time without fully understanding it. We're showing them why that's dangerous." The resonance field intensified. Where it interacted with the Dominion's fracture beams, new effects began to manifest. The beams curved back on themselves, creating loops of unstable space-time that consumed their own source platforms. "Dominion fleet is in disarray," Wu reported. "Their command and control networks are collapsing. Multiple ships attempting emergency FTL jumps." "Negative," Chen ordered. "No escapes this time. Send the signal." Throughout the battle space, hidden quantum nodes activated. They created a complex web of altered physics that made FTL travel impossible. The Dominion fleet was trapped, their most powerful weapons turned against them, their copy technology failing in ways they couldn't understand. "We're receiving a transmission from the surface," Wu announced. "The Dominion leadership. They're offering surrender." The bridge fell silent. After centuries of tyranny, after conquering hundreds of worlds and subjugating countless species, the mighty Dominion was facing defeat. Chen opened a channel to the surface. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. Your surrender is accepted with conditions. First, all Dominion military forces will stand down immediately. Second, all conquered worlds will be granted immediate independence. Third," she paused, looking at Zerix, "representatives from every species you've wronged will participate in determining your punishment." The response was immediate and desperate. The Dominion leaders, faced with total defeat, accepted without hesitation. As the human fleet moved to secure the planet, Chen turned to Zerix. "First speaker, when your people first arrived in our solar system, you couldn't understand how we developed in isolation. Now you know. Isolation didn't make us weak. It made us innovative." Zerix's skin showed patterns of understanding and respect. "You didn't just defeat them militarily. You showed them, and the galaxy, a completely new way of thinking about warfare, about technology, about evolution itself." Chen nodded, watching as human ships began landing on Imperius Prime. On Earth, species didn't just adapt to survive. They adapted to thrive. Every challenge made them stronger. Every setback forced them to innovate. The Dominion thought they were invincible because they'd never faced a species that evolved like we did. She opened a channel to all human forces. "All ships, secure your objectives. Begin liberation protocols. Show them that humanity didn't just learn how to fight in isolation. We learned how to build, how to heal, how to make things better." As the final stages of the operation unfolded, Chen reflected on how far they'd come. Humanity had emerged from isolation to find a galaxy in chains, dominated by an empire that thought itself unconquerable. Instead of cowering, they'd done what Earth species had always done: adapt, innovate, and overcome. The Dominion had ruled through fear and overwhelming force. Humanity had defeated them with innovation and adaptation. They had proved that isolation hadn't been a weakness. It had been an incubator, creating a species that could think in ways their enemies couldn't imagine. Victory wasn't just about defeating an enemy. It was about showing the galaxy a better way forward. And humanity, tempered by isolation and driven by innovation, was ready to lead the way into a new era of peace and progress.